Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Retirement Renaissance. I'm here with Mike Angelucci from Level Financial Advisors. This is Mike Heapin, the Chief Operating Officer with Level. And today, we are here at Rockpile Athletics on Main Street in downtown Buffalo. And Mike, tell everybody why we're here today and why this is part of our Retirement Renaissance videocast.
One of the big things you find when reading the literature on a healthy retirement is the ability to get up and down, to carry groceries in and out of the house, but just all around good physical fitness. Walking is one of the best things you can do, but weightlifting and resistance workouts are also wonderful, something that should be done throughout life. So as I was reading a lot on this, I thought I'd reach out to an expert and ask, and that expert would be my son, Matt Angelucci.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
Matt is the owner of Rockpile Athletic.
Here downtown Buffalo, and he was very enthused and said he would put together a program, so some exercises that people should do on a regular basis to keep them fit throughout their life.
Okay, so in a couple seconds here, we're going to bring Matt in, and he's going to demonstrate with your daughter,
Correct.
Lauren, who is going to also do some demonstration for us on the video here. So let's take it over there, and we'll see what we have to show.
Sounds good.
Hey everyone, I am Coach Matt, owner at Rockpile Athletics. This is Dr. Lauren Dunaway. She is my sister, as noted in the intro. We're here to talk to you guys today about some of our favorite movements we think everyone should be incorporating into their daily life, and dispel some myths about resistance training. So let's talk about those myths first. Oftentimes we hear from people that resistance training is reserved for the young, the fit, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers of the world, lifting big weights, putting big weights overhead, when in fact it can be lighter weights done with really good form, and it's going to give you tons of great benefits, and we should be incorporating those into what we do week to week, day to day. So what we're going to do for you today is we're going to show you the proper way to do some of our favorite movements and give you a lot of different progressions so that no matter where you are in your fitness journey, what you have at home, we have ways we can do these and get a little bit stronger and healthier and make everyday tasks a little bit easier. All right, so now that we've talked about some myths, let's talk about some of the movements and how to do them properly at home. So our first and favorite movement we're going to be talking about is the squat. Oftentimes we think, if you think about a squat, you might picture people with a barbell, heavy weights, but things we can do on our own and to help us get stronger is something as simple as an air squat. So talking about the air squat first, Lauren's going to demo a perfect air squat for us. You can see as she's getting set up, she's got her feet about shoulder width apart. Her upper body is nice and tall. She's got a nice brace core here. She's going to get set like this, and then the first thing she's going to do, she's going to start to send her butt back like she's about to sit in a chair. So she's going to send her butt back. She's going to go down, keeping that chest nice and upright. She's going as low as she can, and then as she hits that bottom position, she's going to press into the floor, stand all the way up, finish with those hips nice and open at the top. Now, you may have seen them, but like, ooh, I can't go that low. That's fine. That's what we're going to try and work to, and now I'm going to show you a couple of progressions with Lauren and how we can get there. So if we're not at the level where we can get all the way down like that, we're going to start with a target that we're squatting to. So this is a good height for Lauren. It might be a little bit higher for you. That's completely fine. We can use a chair at home. We can squat to our couch. Anything that gives us a little tactile feedback on our butt to tell us when to turn around and stand back up. So again, Lauren's going to set up. She has feet shoulder width apart, nice tight upper body. She's going to get set. First thing she's going to do, send that butt back. She's reaching for that box. She hits that box and stands right back up. Notice when she goes down, she's not sitting on the box. What we want to use that target for is to tell us when to turn around and stand back up. So as soon as you feel that butt tap, we're going to press those feet into the floor to drive us back up. All right. The other thing I want you to notice, when she goes down, she keeps her upper body nice and upright, and as she stands up, everything comes up as one unit. Let's demo one where where the chest stays low. So you can see here, as she comes up, she sends the butt up first, and the chest falls after. We want to move as one unit. So practice feeling what that feels like at a nice, reasonable target. So like I said, that target could be even higher if we move that higher. For Lauren, she might only go a little bit down, but that now allows her to keep her chest nice and upright. She starts to feel her way through the movement. If you're able to do 5 to 10 reps comfortably for multiple sets, then we would go to a lower target. Practice there. If you feel that you've lost what you learned at that higher target, stay here until you've gotten back to that comfortable position. After 5, 10 reps, multiple sets there, you go to a lower target where she just was, practice that, get really comfortable there, and then from there, we would remove the target and go to that air squat. Now, going to a full air squat may be a little intimidating at first, so what we would do is we would do like a half air squat. So she's only gonna go down a little ways, turn around, come back up. Get comfortable at that level, and then just start to push it a little lower. So then she's comfortable standing up there. If you want, you could also hold on to an object if you had like a banister or something at home to kind of give you that. There you go, perfect, just like that. To give you that, that comfort of knowing you can do it first, and then slowly remove those objects so we can get to that full, perfect air squat. Now, congratulations, you've been working at it, you mastered the air squat, you can do lots of reps on those on your own without any assistance. I gotta move to make it a little bit harder. If you feel comfortable, this is where we can start to add a little bit of weight. Lauren has a light kettlebell here. You can use anything at home, iced tea jugs, water gallon jugs. If you have dumbbells, those work great too. The cat, the dog, niece, nephew, son, daughter, I don't know. Any of those objects work. But she's gonna hold that object nice and tight up close to the top of the chest, and she's gonna do everything we worked on in that perfect air squat, just with a little bit of weight now. So as she descends, everything's still the same, nice and upright, she's pushing through the feet, everything rises up the same. The one thing you don't want to happen is to let that chest fall and let that back collapse and kind of send the butt back, right? We want to keep that nice and straight up and down movement. Perfect. This is why she's our demo person. Perfect goblet squats. So those are a couple of ways you can progress through squats. And if you need more progressions, you can always reach out to us or at the great people at Level. We can hook you up with some next steps. But these are things, if you start to incorporate those into your daily routine, you'll be amazed at how much stronger you feel, how much easier things get. The squat is a great, great movement. If we're not doing it, that's the first thing we should try and incorporate. All right, so you've been doing air squats, you mastered goblet squats, you're thinking, my legs feel great. I got another thing to make them feel even better. Deadlifts. Now, first thing I want to say, the name, I know it's a scary name. It makes you, again, think of big weights. Those, maybe you've seen fail videos of it, or people just lifting enormous amounts off the ground. We don't need to do that. We like to have fun here. Nice, easy deadlifts. We're gonna work on getting good form, practicing something called a hinge, which is something we do a lot more often than you think. If you ever have to pick up groceries off the ground, you've done a deadlift. But that hinge is super important to keep us safe as we lift up objects off the ground. So let's talk a little bit more about that hinge. When Lauren did the squat, she was traveling straight up and down. The hinge is gonna be a little bit more of chest forward. Think about a door too, the hinges on your door. Those kind of open like a V, close like that. That's what we're gonna learn with our hips. Our hips are gonna be that hinge. So the first thing we're gonna do, stand up, upright, nice and tall, kind of like the squat. That's kind of a theme you'll see as we keep going. Nice and tall, we're gonna put our fingers on our hips. We're gonna get a little soft bend in the knee. We don't want the knees fully locked out. We want a little soft bend. That way we can get a good hinge. You'll feel a stretch in the hamstrings as we start to do this, and that's super important. So, soft bend in the knee, fingers on the hips. I want you to picture pressing that your fingers right into the hips and pushing that butt to the back of the room, just like Lauren's doing here. And you'll notice her chest is falling forward. That's fine. That's often something that we worry about a lot when we first start working out. You can stand back up. We often worry about that because we hear like, oh, that's how we're gonna hurt our backs. We wanna stay nice and tight as we do this, and it's okay to let that chest fall forward like that. So you'll see again, we're gonna have Lauren demo one more time, soft bend in the knees, chest falls forward, and in the back of her legs or her hamstrings, there's a lot of tension. That's what we're trying to achieve there. When she comes up, she's gonna press into the floor, and her body's gonna come up as she focuses on pushing into the floor. If you think about it, think about more of trying to like press the floor away from you rather than like if we were to like squat up or anything. We wanna think more of a pressing motion, all right? So that's a little bit of hinging, and that's gonna be really important because as Lauren goes to her weighted form of a deadlift, the first place we're going to start is with like a single object. You could have a dumbbell. Shit.
That's okay.
The timer.
Okay. It'd be a good chance for me to check and make sure this is still recording, which it is.
Getting a little sweaty.
And all you gotta do is just pause and start on that last sentence.
The goblet squat? Yeah.
Yeah, just so we don't have to go
Yeah.
way back.
Yeah.
And we'll splice it.
Yeah. Where?
Yeah.
So it doesn't just magically appear.
It's magic. Where did it come from?
All right, so now that we've learned a little bit about hinging, let's apply that to deadlifting. So in order to do a full deadlift, there's going to be some form of weighted object we have. We're going to start with a single object in front of us. What Lauren's going to do is she's going to use that hinged motion to reach with her hands all the way down to the kettlebell. She's going to put her hands on the kettlebell. She's going to lock those shoulders into place, keep her back nice and flat, and she's going to drop her butt a little bit so that she has a nice upright chest there. So let's go back up. Nope, yep, reach for the kettlebell. So we don't want, send the knees back, we don't want to start here. We want to make sure that our butt's a little bit lower. We have a nice upright chest and a nice flat back. So when I talk to you about pressing into the floor, that's the first thing Lauren's going to do here. She's going to focus on keeping this all together. She's going to press into the floor, keeping those arms straight, and that weight's just going to come with her. As that weight gets past her knees, then she's going to start to open that upper body. So let's go back down. Perfect. Let's do another rep. She's pressing into the floor. Let's pause here. Hands are now just above the knees. And what she's going to do is now she's going to open the chest and the hips and finish nice and strong there. So if you've ever picked anything up off the ground, you've probably done it in a manner like this. And this is a really safe way to start working a different muscle group in your legs aside from the squat there. So Lauren's going to demo a couple of good reps in a row. You can see she's nice and smooth here. Every rep looks the same. As she goes back down, she sends the butt to the back of the room. As she stands up, she's pressing up and moving up as one whole unit until she gets to the very top when she extends. These are really, really good. The important thing though is to start light and really start to learn and feel your way through the movement. It's really important that we're confident when we pick things up off the ground and we stay nice and tight the whole time. The more braced and ready we are to lift objects off the ground, the safer we're gonna be. So that is the first way you can do a deadlift. If you're feeling confident, you wanna go a little up from there, you can always incorporate more weight with a single kettlebell. If you have two kettlebells, look at that, it just appeared, a second one. It's magic. If you have two kettlebells, what you can do is you can have one on each side of you. As you can see with Lauren here, she does the same thing to set up, but now they're on the sides of her feet. She's gonna do the same thing, press into the floor. Both kettlebells get past the knee, and then she stands all the way up. These are called suitcase deadlifts. If you picture picking up a suitcase in both hands, it just adds a little bit different of a challenge for you, but another great way to continue to build weight or strength in your legs. So if you've never been doing deadlifts, again, start really light, get a feel for it, and then as you get comfortable, able to do 5 to 10 reps at a time, incorporate a couple different variations like the single object, double object, maybe add a little bit of weight into the equation, but again, you'll be really pleasantly surprised how great it's going to make your legs feel overall. All right, everyone, we talked about 2 of our favorite lower body exercises. Now we're going to talk about some upper body ones. Just like how the squat is like our favorite movement, here's our favorite movement for your upper body. You may have done these in the past, maybe you've been intimidated to do them, but they are push-ups. There's a lot of different ways we can make push-ups easier if you've tried them and found it difficult in the past, but they are a great way to be able to push yourself up off the ground, build some upper body strength in both your chest and back and arms. It's a great total upper body movement. So, as we talk about the push-up, the very first thing we see often that needs to be corrected is going to be the elbow position. So Lauren's going to come down onto the floor. She's going to get into a push-up position, but with what we see often, people have their elbows really flared out as they try and do a push-up, and that puts a lot of stress on the elbows, and especially if we haven't been doing them a lot, it's going to feel really hard. The elbows might get a little achy. So what we're going to have Lauren demo is she's going to get her hands in nice and close. Elbows are going to be pinched to the body, so they're tight to the body, almost tucked into the ribs, and that's where we want your elbows to start. So want to talk about that before we show you our first variation. So now that we know where our elbows go, we're going to move to the first thing you can do if you're not comfortable with doing them from the floor. So if we're not comfortable with doing them on the floor, we can again find an object at home. Kitchen chairs, stools, things like that are great objects to use for this. They give us a little bit more height. You're going to step back, so you're in a slanted position. You're going to try and keep everything nice and straight, and you're going to lower yourself all the way down until your chest hits that object. Again, perfect push-ups from Lauren. Big round of applause for Lauren. But once we get really comfortable, again in that 5 to 10 rep range, then we can kind of challenge ourselves in a different way. So this is a high target. It comes up to about Lauren's hips. I'm going to challenge her by going a little bit lower. It's up to the level of her knees. She'll find that a little bit harder, but the big thing I want you to notice, her elbows stayed nice and tucked, body stayed nice and straight. Nothing changed when she went to that lower target. That's really important, because if we find that something changes, so like go down and press upper body first. If we find that our form feels off from what we were doing before, we want to maybe find a middle ground target, or we can go back to this higher target and practice those good positions, a little bit more. We want to make sure that as we go from progression to progression, nothing changes. So Lauren's shown she can do them to the box height, and now we're going to move it down to the floor. So it may be a big jump to go from something like the box all the way to the floor. So if you have like a pillow at home, you can roll up a towel, something that just adds a little bit of height to where we're going to lower ourselves. We want to have a consistent target that we're always looking for. So I'm going to place this ab mat down on the floor. Lauren's going to start. The first thing when we go to the floor, we want to start with on our knees, not our toes. And she's going to have those elbows nice and tucked again. She's going to lower herself all the way down to that ab mat until the chest hits from there. She's done 2 reps. Let's do 2 more. Good. And you can see across all those reps, nothing changed there. She has a really good upper body position, flat back still, elbows nice and tucked. They don't flare out. She's shown she can go to the next level. We remove the target, and she goes all the way to the floor. Big It may feel like a big jump. It's only a couple inches, but don't worry, that's normal. It is difficult to make those big jumps, or those little jumps in push-ups. They will make a big difference in how it feels overall. Once she's done 3 to 5 reps there, multiple times when nothing changes, the last step would be she comes up onto her toes. You can see here, nice flat body positioning. Elbows are still in nice and tucked. All the way down to the floor. Chest hits the floor, comes back up. When you press up, you can rest. When you press up, really focus on that press through the hands, right? We don't want to press the upper body up. Let's demo that actually. We don't want to press just the upper body up and then bring the hips up. She's keeping everything nice and tight the whole time and pressing through those hands to bring yourself all the way up. So those are some great push-up modifications. No matter where you're at in your fitness level, there should be something there that works for you. And you'll find, again, just like I've been saying with everything else, you'll be surprised at doing a couple of these a day or into your workout routine, how effective that can be in making you feel stronger, more comfortable, more able to handle the basic things of everyday life. All right, the last move, upper body move we're going to talk about is the strict press. This is a fairly easy one to do. It's one that you can easily mess up though. So there's a couple of big points we want you to focus on when doing something like this at home. The strict press is just taking something from our shoulders, pressing it straight overhead. Really helps us build that upper body strength. Just like we're doing with the push-up, we're just now pushing vertically as opposed to horizontally. So it's a different way to get that upper body strength to make sure we're well-rounded overall. So when Lauren's gonna pick up those dumbbells, she's gonna bring them to her shoulders. Now before she moves, a couple of things you wanna think about. The most important that often gets overlooked is your lower body, right? We're working our upper body. We don't think too much about what our lower body's doing, but the more set we are here, the easier it's gonna feel up here, right? So she's gonna get a really good base. She set her feet shoulder width apart, squeezing nice and tight. Everything's really solid. Her core is locked into place. She's ready to press now. The more set your foundation is, the easier it's gonna be to press. Now that I've made her wait for a long time, she's gonna press those weights directly overhead. You can see because she's got that tight lower body that nothing's moving there and everything is just working in those shoulders. So we saw Lauren do some really good reps where she was doing everything well. What you'll start to notice is if a weight's too heavy, you'll want to begin to kind of lean back and press like that, and you can see she kind of disengaged there and she started to become more of like a bench press. We want to make sure that we're always in control of the weights and we're not doing that lean back. So if you find yourself starting to do that lean back positioning, find a little bit lighter of a weight and something you can control more of, and practice on the lighter weights before we get to a heavier weight that forces us to do that, right? We always want to be nice and upright, nice and tight as we practice these. Strict presses, like I said, pretty easy overall to talk about, but those couple of things will really make them easier to do and keep you safer in the long run. So they're really important to practice and master as we start to do things like this. So just like everything else, you want to be able to do 5 to 10 reps at a time, a couple sets regularly at that weight, and feel like you have that overall mastery before you start going up in weight a little bit more. But those are a couple of the upper body movements that if you have objects at home, you can probably incorporate those into your regular workout routine. What we're going to do for you guys is we're going to give you a couple of like weekly workout routines and how you can incorporate this into maybe if you're a runner, maybe if you're a walker, like things you can do and to layer this in so you don't feel lost in how you do it, and give you guys a couple of workout examples that you can maybe use. If you ever need or have questions, you can always reach out to us or the team at Level. Seeing as my dad is one of those people, I'm sure he'll forward me the email. But these are some of our favorite movements. Again, if you're not incorporating them, definitely give it a try. Start slow. Don't worry about building up fast. Just start with the basic levels and then start to come back to this video and look at the progressions to how you can make it harder once you feel confident enough to take the next step.
Okay, so that was awesome. Thanks to Matt for allowing us to come here to Rockpile Athletics and to share the gym time with us and give us some tips. And so we'll put some information online with the video where people can learn more about Rockpile and also about fit exercises while in retirement. And until next time, this is Mike Hebern with Mike Angelucci.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Take care.